In just 3 days, the northbound Paradise Island Bridge will bear the name of an icon of film and a star of Black history. So Sidney Poitier will receive the honor when he returns home this week in one of the major events marking the Bahamas' 40th anniversary of independence. In the lead up to the renaming, we've been airing a series of Sir Sidney films which began last week. But tonight we want to test your Sir Sidney knowledge. Here's a bit of trivia. How old was Sir Sidney when he left Cat Island for Miami? Well, he was 15 years old, according to our information. He was, of course, born in Miami. When his parents visited there, he was born 2 months premature. So now you know. Now, it's considered one of the biggest events, as we've said, of the 40th anniversary celebrations. In just 3 days, the bridge on Paradise Island will be renamed after a legendary filmmaker and iconic star who has changed the face of Black history. So Sidney will receive the honor when he returns to the capital. And of course, that event is set to take place on Friday of this week, and it'll be carried live on the ZNS television network. Now, there was a press conference held today. Chairman of the 40th anniversary celebrations, Mr. Charles Carter, says while the bridge connects the past to the future, he's deeply concerned about the fact that thousands of young Bahamian students don't know the story of Sir Sidney.
That this unveiling ceremony is going to be done in the presence of the school children of the Bahamas. And that's the way it should be. Because this bridge will only be opened once. It will only be named once. It will only have this towering figure there once. And imagine, I want my grandchildren to be there because it is going to be what you call a Kodak moment. It is going to be a moment in history that they will be able to tell their grandchildren about. And hopefully their grandchildren will be as proud as they are of having had somebody who witnessed this signal moment in the history of our country.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel says police will be out in full force to ensure a smooth traffic flow during the big event.
We are going to manage the traffic flow in that area. The road closure will be limited, but especially in the area of East Bay Street and Armstrong Street. We have to sterilize the area between Armstrong Street and the bridge, especially on Friday morning when all of our kids come from different areas across the Bahamas to take part in this event. So we're going to make sure that area is sterilized. A number of police officers will be there to assist with the management of the traffic and also the movement of those children. So you will see a detail of police officers around at that time. In the evening, the traffic management continues, and of course, a number of persons will be trying to get across to Paradise Island Bridge before it closes. We will assist with that.
In other news tonight, Prime Minister Perry Christie announced during his tour of Abaco yesterday that the government has received $200,000 from the Caribbean Development Bank to assist in repairing the destruction caused by Hurricane Sandy. Noting that it's a significant sum of money, the Prime Minister explained that various agencies have offered aid following a disaster, and when that happens, the government uses the money where it's needed most. He added, though, that the country would have to spend much more than the CDB's donation to assist in rebuilding the lives of residents who suffered damage to homes, farms, and other property during the passage of the Category 2 storm. The Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, and a National Emergency Management Agency team toured the estimated 69 miles of devastation from Marsh Harbor to Crown Haven. A technical team will travel to the island to properly assess the damage to the infrastructure, including roads, and how to best repair them. The nominees for the 15th CACIC Awards, honoring those outstanding achievers within the tourism sector, have been named. The event is scheduled for January 27th at the Rainforest Theater, and the awards will include Lifetime Achievement, People's Choice Music Awards, Minister's Award for Hospitality, Transportation, Creative Arts, Sports, Leisure and Events, and Sustainable Tourism Awards. Now, awards will also be given for airline, cruise line, travel writer, and travel Agent of the Year, among others. While the winners of each of those categories won't be known until award night, the recipients of the ceremony's top honors have already been chosen. Dave and Phoebe Gale of Abaco have been selected as the winners of the Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, in the popular People's Choice Music Award, which honors musical entertainers who keep Bahamian music vibrant, Terrence Forbes, Adrian Edgecombe, and Therese Davis were nominated in the gospel category. Meantime, Puzzle for his hit Jobless and Dylan McKenzie for his The Gallin' Song and Dog Don't Bark at Parked Car were nominated in the secular category. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Patricia Rogers, says this year's group of nominees is one of the strongest in years.
In fact, there were a number of nominees whose accomplishments were so varied and equally outstanding that they were considered in more than one category. And we thank the general public for their efforts in this process. This year, however, our panel of judges was unable to determine finalists and thus a winner in one category, and that was handicraft. This was not because of any lack of talent on the part of the nominees. It was simply that our judges found that either insufficient information was submitted about the nominees or the samples of the specific handicraft provided were not up to par. And having regard for the integrity of these awards, the panel deemed it advisable to forego an award in this category. Going forward, we would urge those of you who nominate in this category to do all that you can to provide outstanding examples of the artisan's work.
Musician and entertainer legendary Berkeley Van Bird of T-Connection fame was laid to rest today. Scores of local and international entertainers packed into Zion Baptist Church, Eastern Shirley Streets this morning to say final farewell to the colorful lead singer who was loved by many. Van Bird passed away in hospital on October 17th after a short illness. He lit up the room with his personality and took music listeners to another place with his smooth vocals. But to his family, he was much more.
Man, he spoke about music pretty much. That's all he knew. That's all he knew. And only thing he wanted, he just wanted everybody to get a fair shot and everybody to really just embrace our Bahamian artists.
My dad, I think he would want people to try and infuse in their music their true identity and to understand Bahamian, not just the Bahamian culture, but the history beyond being a Bahamian.
One thing you didn't know was he was colorful and he always had a smile on his face. You know, so his memory for me will never die. You know, with him being a drummer, I have a son, his grandson, who he saw for the first time, you know, earlier this year, and he drums just as much as my dad drums. So he has that same passion towards the music industry.
Paradise was almost my favorite T-Connection song. Basil, what about you?
Just as so many of them, you know, back in the 70s, you just name it.